Okay. Well, thanks for doing this, bro. Thank you very
That's all right.
much. Um,
It's been a long time coming, that's for sure.
yeah, shit,
Yeah.
yeah. I suppose we'll give everyone a quick catch up. So, I met you maybe 2, 3 years? What? How long's it been now?
No longer than that now. No,
Oh,
no,
what
no.
the
You've
hell?
been out of the coaching game for almost 12.
Yeah, okay.
'Cause it was pre-COVID that you stopped. So
Yeah.
shit, yeah, that's 18 months. Yeah, you're looking at 4 years,
Well, there you go.
4 5 years.
Yeah, shit. Yeah, well, I suppose I first met you just down at the courts, come down for a bash, and then you got addicted to
Yeah.
having a crack. Yeah.
Addicted's probably not even the right word. It's too mild.
That's a good way to say it.
Yes, no, a minor starter has now turned into a 4 to 5 time a week obsession.
That's good, man. Hey, there could be so many worse things that you're putting 4 or 5 days a week into.
Oh, yeah.
You know, especially if you get nothing out of it. Whereas this, you get so much out of it.
Yeah.
You know, when I first met you, dude, I'd run you ragged for 15, 20 minutes. You'd be fucked. Whereas, the last time we had a bash, that was the first time I'd had it in 12 months.
Yeah.
You were the one standing strong at the end. I come home and, threw my back out. Like, I was wrecked. So you've come a long way.
Yeah,
a long
fitness
way.
side, especially even tennis fitness alone
Yeah.
has just shot up. It's
It's
dropped, obviously, off since COVID because we had so many different, so many days off.
Yeah.
Both between Saturday fixtures, week fixtures, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's dropped off and the weight's gone up again.
So, what are you doing? How many singles are you doing now? You're
Monday
night?
Monday night I've only got a single game of singles and 2 doubles.
Yep.
Wednesdays are
Purely
just 3 doubles.
Yep.
Thursday night's just a lesson, so that's 1-on-1 with the coach.
Yep.
Same as what we used to do.
Yep.
And he still does run me ragged figure eights and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, good.
So every time he says that, he said, we're going to do some figure eights. And
Mate, give him a shout out. What's his name? Or where's he at? Bloody.
yeah, coach. He's Mitch Hardy. He's down at Redcliffe Tennis Centre. He was he's done hitting partners for Sam Groth and a whole heap of other ATP players back when he was younger, and he was a lot more fit. Obviously, he's not as fit now, and these are his words, not mine. So don't kill me.
Yeah, sweet.
But yeah, no, and yeah, he'll run me ragged still, and
That's good, dude.
and every time I mutter on, I forgot to ask, swearing, yay, nay,
Mate, fuck.
go for
Go
it.
nuts.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Every time he says it, just under my breath, get fucked. Every time I hear those words, I'm thinking, really? Out of everything you could have picked, you picked that, because I hate it. I love it, but I hate it. And I always still mess it up. Meant to be going cross court, I'm going down the line, and hang on a second, no, I've got to go that way. And after 3 or 4 goes, I'm thinking, shit, I'm starting to run out of breath. Oh, no, I have to go down the line, I can't go cross court, and it just gets mixed up in my head.
Yeah,
She's brutal. But yeah, and then Fridays occasionally I'll have a hit with Anthony. So he's the coach obviously at Caboolture. So
that's the young fellas.
the young fella, yeah. That's maybe only once a month or something that he's got free because he's now coaching both there and Bribey.
Is he the guy at Bribey?
He's only just started at Bribey.
Okay.
It was, I believe it was Tyrone, something like that. It was Ty was the guy who did it for a bit, and then it was Ty and I think Michael. Michael was really good. Only thing I didn't like about Michael, no warm up. I was straight in, backhands cross court to Charlie who was playing at the net, and I fucked something in my calf.
Yeah.
Because no warm up, and it's not like he was feeding it at the right height. I had to use my knees and everything straight away.
Yeah.
Which.
Yeah, well, if you're not getting there and having a stretch before you've jumped on court, if I see that you've come straight, you walk from the car straight to on court, then we're gonna have a nice, easy. We're gonna work into it. We're gonna get intensity happening. You can't just get it straight off the bat.
Yeah, no, and that's like what he was teaching me and what he was saying. It was good. It was good stuff about where I was finishing and contact point, things like that. But just going straight into it. I actually. Sorry, it wasn't my calf, it was my thigh. It was my right thigh. It's almost in the same area as a hammy, but it wasn't a hammy because I pulled a hammy because of soccer before and it was just a different type of pain. And that
you
ruled
get
me
this
out.
fucker a little bit closer to you, brother.
Yep.
Is that possible at all? No. You're all right.
No.
Don't even worry about
Little closer.
it. Can I kick this over
Yeah,
to you?
yeah. We're over there. There we go. Yeah, and it fucked me up for 3-4 weeks. I couldn't move properly. Like, during work, limping.
Okay.
On a tennis court. No push up on the serve and just sort of hobbling and just going side to side. Going forward was painful because I was pushing off on that leg.
I'm not saying that it didn't happen then.
Yeah.
But it also could have been one of those things that just could have happened
At any point.
You could have been going to Dunny, and
Yeah. It could have. It could have just possibly been an absolute coincidence that it had happened at that point.
don't get me wrong, jumping straight on a court and going nuts is
Yeah.
just not how shit's done. Especially when you're cracking like you're cracking. If you're playing to a bloody
A Jerry.
G grader, and you just you're feeding lollipops, and I understand them trying to get a bit of a hustle on because the intensity and pace really isn't there anyway. But
Yeah, but
when
yeah,
you,
no,
when
it
you
was.
get them slapped at you. That's a bit of a different story.
Yeah, and Charlie had to work on his volleying, so he was at the net. So I had to get backhands cross court to him, and then he was volleying back, and then so I had to get ready like that.
Yeah, no time.
And so it was
time.
no time at all,
Yeah.
and as I said, it could have been a coincidence, but
See,
it's just.
And in a sense, it's a shit thing because Charlie doesn't need to work on. No offense, Charlie. Shout out. But like for him, and the most like 90% of people that step up in the game when they get up to the net, it's a reactionary process, and that's the problem. Old school, the whole mindset was you get to the net to finish. I haven't got time to stand at the baseline, get into the trenches, and just go hammer and tong. Like when I started to get tired when I played you, I served and volleyed.
Yeah, you did.
I wasn't going to have long points with you, you young bugger. I was going to mix it up and change it and cut things short and save myself some juice and then go back to going back again and slowing down, mix it up. But when I needed a breather, I was going to boom, get in there and get over the point.
Oh, yeah, and the first time I went, oh, crap, yeah, that's right, he can serve and volley.
Yeah, and it's purely when I'm fatigued, it's like, okay, well, instead of this lateral movement while we're waiting for this war of atrophy or we're waiting for a hole to open up to pick.
Yeah. Come in, yep, thanks very much.
Yeah, especially if you're switched off and you're just returning sort of, if you get into that hitting zone that you get into, so as you serve on the ad side, whatever you switch off.
I've been working on that one.
Yeah, good shit.
She's been kicking out a lot wider
yeah,
too.
that's it.
So.
Yeah, just spice of life, baby. Mix it up,
Yeah.
So, but, fuck. Yeah. You'll get there, bro.
Yeah.
You'll get there.
Oh,
but, I just don't want you to keep work, don't do what I did for so long and work harder and not work smarter. Like, I cannot stress the importance of you getting a fucking camera and recording your shit. Like, please, mate.
Yeah.
Your next match, ask the guy you're playing against. I'm sorry. Is it okay if I record a game or two? Is it okay if I record our game? I'll send you a copy. Like, the benefits for it are phenomenal. The best coach I've ever had was myself.
Yeah.
I've had some good coaches. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean to insult any of the coaches I've had, but they were never able to modify my game to my extent when I watch myself. As soon as I watch myself hit a ball, I went, "Are you fucking serious? I do that?
Yeah.
Oh my god!" Like,
yeah, I thought I was doing something different.
Oh, yeah. And that's like I'd tell you or I'd tell anyone, this is what you're doing. They're like, yeah, you're a broken record, right? And if I show you, you go, oh, fuck. Are you serious?
am actually still
doing that, like, to that extent, yeah. And, man, you got no excuse. You're on court 4 or 5 days a week. But Jesus Christ. Tie a GoPro to the fence, hang your phone up on the fence and go nuts, like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I definitely need to record myself more, that's for sure. I mean, I've made tweaks to my game just by the feel as well. Like, since you first coached me, forehand's changed, backhand's changed, service changed. But they're only slight tweaks.
Yep.
Like forehand, it's fairly similar motion, obviously just finishing a bit higher and the grip is a bit further around.
Oh, yes.
So it's a bit more like a Fed's dead flat.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes, if it's a bit more intense, I actually still tilt it even more, so it's not flat, it's a bit over. Because I've got a little bit less time, and I just tend to get a bit more toppy with less effort. So if I've got, if I'm playing, filling in up in Div 1, and going against the big hitters, like really big hitters, and I don't have a massive amount of time, I just tilt it a little bit more, shorten my swing majorly, and it's enough to keep their pace and still add toppy. Whereas my normal swing's not up to the level of keeping up to that.
Yep. Yeah, no, well, it's it. Like, if I'm playing a big hitter, I'm going to steer, until the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm playing someone who's going to serve as quick as, when I used to serve quite heavily, like on my first serve, then a lot of my returns are with a continental grip.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to, a little, the slightest bit of pronation or supination, like, and then just steer and block and no backswing. Like,
you haven't exactly got time.
Yeah, no, and we don't have
else.
like where we're playing, the areas we had, you don't have the court. You can't stand 5 metres behind the baseline and try and creep in on the toss. And so I understand that. It's and you got to have that modification, man.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is, I suppose when you get in from my side of things is when I'm teaching someone, I'm trying to teach them like the best possible outcome and the most efficient way to do it. But it doesn't mean there aren't modifications necessary. Like the survival skills stuff we used to do, just by getting it back, digging it up, throwing the high ball to give yourself time to get back out of the trenches and get back in the court.
Yeah. The amount of times I've used that.
Yeah. Oh man, geez, saved my ass so many times. I'm funny. Bit of Mary Poppins and just get back in the centre.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was even a couple last night, and I realised, wait, hang on a second, where did that come from? And it was you, because that's one thing lobs just aren't my thing. I never sort of could pick up on them properly and get them working. So it was literally, like, it was a moonball. You almost lost.
Oh God.
It was just straight up in the air. Yep, I got a couple of minutes here. I can sit here, have a coffee, wait for it to come down.
Yeah.
But just those survival skills and just even slight modifications. It's just enough if you need it.
There's I don't know, I suppose the longer you stay in it, and the further along you go, you'll have more epiphanies left, right and centre.
Yeah.
Especially if you're willing to self-assess. Like, if you just want someone to teach you and coach you and sort of, which you don't. By working with you, I understand how much you love it, you appreciate it, and you like to understand what the fuck's going on with your body while it's unfolding. So, because you have that mindset, you are going to improve.
Yeah.
It's going to be frustrating.
Oh, fair.
Yeah, fucking oath. Yeah, especially when you know what you're doing wrong, you're not fixing it and stuff. But you will have these constant sort of epiphanies like I've had. I've been slapping the yellow fuzzies for fucking, 40 years, basically. Like, first photo I think we've got of me was, I was 2 years and 3 months. And the tennis racket was almost, like up to my rib cage. And I'm in a pair of friggin' nappies, cracking a tennis ball, like, or at least trying to. So, and I know the amount of changes I went through and mindsets and game styles and techniques from, like, watching, Ed Berg as a kid, loving the serve and volley, and then not being very good at it because I was quick, but just no intelligence at all, and dodging the grip, and then this guy called Courier come along who just had this wicked forehand, just the biggest off-court forehand you've ever seen. So that gave me an excuse to run around my backhand and just
go for a forehand.
But I mean, then as I started to teach, the whole change in the game and understanding and the movements of the body and how to apply that science, and then being able to try and sort of give that information over so that each person I'm teaching understands it.
Yeah, well, you would have started coaching around Sampras era, wouldn't you?
Yeah. When did I start coaching? Fucking hell. 94, 95?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sampras, that would have been, Sampras and Agassi.
Yeah, they had the duel.
Yep.
They were basically ones and twos.
Oh, mate.
It's so funny how often that's been the case in men's tennis.
Well, up until, 2-3 months ago, the big four, so Feds, Djokovic, Murray, and Rafa, had held the 1 and 2 position since something like, I think it was, don't quote me on this, but it was something like the 23rd of July 2005. So no one outside the big four had broken into the top two since mid 2005.
And well, you think Murray's been out of action for like the last 18 months or there?
Yeah, well, he's trying to work his way back in. He's done a couple of matches. He hasn't had anything sort of brilliantly, but well, I mean, Fed's just had good 18 months off with 2 knee surgeries. Because it wouldn't quite be 18 months, it'd be about 14, because the last match he played before he joined back on was the semis in the Oz Open against Djokovic.
Okay.
And that's when he did his knee, and he went and had his surgery, started the road to recovery. I think it was about 3 months in. It actually started getting worse again, so we had to have a second surgery.
Fuck, okay. I thought it was a double knee. I didn't realise it was the same knee.
Yeah, no, it was the same knee. It was, I think he said something like he was out rollerblading or skiing, something along those lines.
Skiing, Swiss, yes.
With his kids.
Yep.
And he noticed that it was like really blowing up, and he went and had some scans, and they said, yeah, no, we got to do it again. So he had 2 surgeries on the same knee over that period of 12 months, and he's working his way back, and I think he's had...
Well, he's...
Yeah.
Why? You know, I mean, how much money do you want? Like, I understand, if he still loves the hunt...
He still loves it.
Yeah, if he loves the competition, fair enough. But...
That's... he obviously, being Feds, he probably gets an appearance payment too. And, of course, all of his sponsors and shit.
Yeah.
But he still loves the sport, and you can see it on his face too. Even when his first match back,
yeah,
you could see it. Even when he came in for it wasn't a half volley. He was about halfway on, about the service line. He came in for a nice whippy forehand to get it cross court, and because I can't remember who was against that first one. It was Dan Evans.
Oh, look at him go!
Evans is he's done really well lately. Actually, he beat Djokovic straight sets. I believe it was straight sets in the last clay match at Monte Carlo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he got up semis or something.
So it's got how can this not be like these dudes are in their mid to late 30s, if not Federer's case 40.
Federer's he's
30.
I think he's 39 going on 40 now.
Yeah, he's 39 at least.
And he's been he's been playing since he was very young, and he's been ball kid, and he still loves the sport.
Yeah,
that's what's keeping him going.
Yeah, and when you're brilliant at it too, I'd say.
Yeah, that also does help. Natural talent.
If he was 400 in the world, I don't think he'd have the same passion or longevity.
No, I mean, now I think he's dropped to somewhere about 8th or 9th because of the whole COVID stop.
Yep.
It was like a freeze and they worked out the rankings. It was like over the past 2 years.
Didn't he only just come back?
Sorry?
Didn't he only just come back?
Yeah. But because of the COVID break, the rankings were on a freeze, and they were worked out over how you went in the past 2 years or something like that, because there was like 6-8 months off with no tennis whatsoever.
Yep.
So otherwise everyone would have just had no points.
Yeah.
So they worked out a freeze, and he still held, I believe it was 3rd for a while, and then he's just slowly dropping.
Because it's still a deduction system on not defending, isn't it? So you got to defend your points.
I believe, they've started that up with the clay season now, because they've got a full calendar back, and everything's working as per normal now. So I do believe it is a negative,
until the next fucking outbreak.
Yeah.
Until the next mutation. Until the next load of bullshit.
Yeah.
Don't even start me. Fucking hell. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another whole fucking.
That's a whole kettle of fish we really need to go into.
Has it affected you with your job?
No. We had a couple of times we were working alternatively at the office. Like GM and I'd be in for a couple of days, and the other tech and say the IT guy was in, and we just sort of rotated on this thing. And if we weren't there, we were working from home.
Yeah, okay.
But once we came back and we were back to normal, sort of towards the end of 2020, we just got smashed. We have not stopped since. And we've just been absolutely flat out because we service construction industry. It's booming. Everyone's got all this cash. They're like, yep, no. And of course, with all the grants and stuff you can get for governments for, building new homes or refurbishing homes, that sort of stuff.
Mate, the boom's that much that I think we're a part of the global timber shortage at the moment. I think
shit.
I think it's Canada, the States, there's a couple of other countries I named, and Australia was named in the last week or two as part of being an actual part of the global timber shortage.
That wouldn't
just
surprise me.
Because the construction industry's boomed so much, and it's like, well, how the fuck is this possible? How is it with all the other shit going on? How has homes and stuff still being built at such a rigorous amount of time? Like overseas investments, like what is it? What sort of money is being thrown around? Have you heard some of the bullshit about during COVID? the world's wealthiest, top 10 wealthiest people, believe I'm men, gained some ridiculous amount of money in profit in comparison to, on average, I think it was like 30% of the population during the same period of time were unemployed.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck is that any sort of... That doesn't make sense at all.
No.
You know?
No, but speaking on that property thing, because I'm in the process of doing all that sort of stuff and buying a house and shit like that.
Oh,
well,
really?
Trying to save to get a deposit to buy a house.
Yep.
That's a nightmare, and that's stressful. But yeah, it's weird. It's a lot of townhouses. Not so much standalone houses like your normal 4, 5, 3-bedroom homes, things like that. There's a lot of townhouse complexes being built.
Oh yeah.
Because they can be built in masses and very quickly, and they're all... You've usually got 3 or 4 variants of design across them all. That's it.
I'll show you where I lived for 20 years before I, spread my wings in Bass Hill.
Yeah.
Good old Compton Street, straight out of fucking Compton. Mate, there's several townhouses down this street of only 20 odd fucking houses.
Yeah, well,
it's ridiculous.
Well, the one I was looking at before I actually realised how much I needed and all that sort of stuff, and sort of shut myself going, how the hell am I going to do this?
Where you look, what sort of price range have you done?
Well, it was Kalanga, and they were about $360 to $390, depending on which one you went. Full proper 3-bedroom townhouses. They had a 1.5 kW system in each bedroom. Obviously, only one inverter because aircon tech has come a long way or something like that. And so each bedroom, had a 1.5 kW system, which is enough for, 3.2 by 3.2 bedroom or something like that, just to cool it during summer.
Yeah.
And they were... actually, I think the cheaper ones were somewhere near $340, but that was like... You got rows of 4, and they would be like the 2 middle ones, so you had 2 shared walls.
Yep.
And the more expensive ones were the ones that, backed onto bushland, had a bigger yard.
Why are you looking there?
Because I'm sick of the ridiculous drive from Bribey to work every day.
Done.
Because, it's a nightmare.
But I mean, so you've got no plans on going anywhere else with work? You're really happy? You think you'll see yourself staying here for a while with this company? Or?
Yeah. Oh, geez, yeah. I mean, I've been with them... I was casual for a bit, but I think full-time for like 2017 or something. So, 4, 5 years.
Well, it makes sense, mate, if you're going to,
I've got...
I was going to say, because, just like across here, that...
Yeah.
All that new estate that got built.
Yeah.
They got places starting there, 2-bedders starting there, little villas. They're all, 300 square metres. But they got places starting there for like 260.
Yeah. Shit, that's not bad.
To get you started?
Yeah.
To get you started, dude, that's...
Yeah, I think the main problem
especially
is...
if you're walking in with the banks, you don't even do that nowadays. You get someone else, you get the brokers to do it for you. They present the shit, they tell the stories.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what it was. I used my folks' broker because she's been a family friend for years, so...
Yep.
And she just, no cost or anything like that. She just like, I'm going to run through it, see what you can get, see what you can't. Obviously, new home you get more because you're the first homeowners grant, things like that. Already established, you don't get it.
Yep.
So, an extra 15 grand to the bank.
Yeah, but you get all the other things waived.
Yeah.
Like, there's no... it saved me, because I was first home, it saved me even getting this place. I didn't get the extra 15 or 25, whatever it was, for the new home construction. But it saved me all up, it was like 10 or 11 grand anyway, according to the mortgage broker.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of things that got waived and this, that, the other.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's that's gibberish. I started down the financial path at school and I went, while I'm great at it, nah, not for me.
Yeah, unfortunately,
I
learning very late in life, but better late than never.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, it's more to be, close to work, because driving from Banksia to Northgate each day it's an hour clear, without traffic or anything like that. I'm doing 140 odd K round trip each day.
Yeah.
So that townhouse complex, that was Kalango, and I worked out it was like maybe 20-25 minute drive to work. That's with traffic.
Yep.
I just need to get off Bribey.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Nothing wrong. Like, it's a great place to live. Don't get me wrong, but the drives are just painful.
Yeah, look, mate, it's I don't know. A lot of people do it, and they do it every day, and some people do it and don't mind. My brother's done it his whole fucking life. I don't know how. He lived in Sydney. He worked in Sydney and bought a place up the Central Coast. So you're looking at like it's 60 or 70 k's there direct, you know.
Yeah.
But the structure of Sydney's not laid out like it is up here.
Oh, yeah,
nowhere near as clean flowing. It's a
It's a shit show to say the least.
But so he'd do that every day, and then he was a courier. So he'd drive all day and then spend an hour and something driving home, and an hour and something driving to work.
Oh,
it's like, you know, fuck, I don't know how he done it. I don't know how he
must love driving.
But he's, you know, yeah, he's happy. But I mean, I suppose when you're going home and you've got a nice slice of paradise, it makes it worthwhile. Like he's got a really nice little place on the back of a cliff. He's, you know, walk up the back of the property and look over. There's ocean. And it's not like it's, you know.
Fancy,
you know, but it's a lovely home. He's done well and chipped away at it over the years. He's got a nice little slice of paradise.
Well, it's great when you can do that. Like drive up your driveway and go, "Yep, this is mine."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, it's taken me way too long, but yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I've got it's by no means brand new. You know, it's a fixer upper, which we spent a bit of time and money on already, and we love it. Don't get me wrong, we love the place. It's, you know, for us, it's home.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the main thing, is that it's home.
Yeah. Yeah, and the kids get to, you know, not have to worry about moving. Like, it's funny, I was talking to Em about how, like, I didn't have to move around as a kid. I grew up in one fucking house my whole life. I had this bedroom that was my bedroom. The only thing I had to share it with was, you know, when I was really, really young, I have faint memories of when my eldest brother was living with us for a while. Yeah. You know, or my second eldest brother come and stayed with us for 6 to 12 months. But they were always out partying. They're like fucking 20 years older than me. So. Yeah. One of the girls I coached from Sydney, Nadia, I can even remember her last name, and she was one of the top juniors in the 16 and unders. Now, she could hit a backhand all day off double hander and just comfortably lean in on it and roll. Pull the elbows in a bit tight. But a forehand was touch and go, just for that sheer fact of that insecurity.
Because it was just the single hander. Yeah. Which I don't get, because, I mean, in emergencies, I've used a double hander. Like, if it's coming at me and it's boxed right in, you know, and it's close to my body and I haven't moved out enough and I've been a bit lazy on my footwork, I've just used a double hander to sort of bunt it back. A lot of it's to do with the psychology, though. It's not just the mechanics. Like, the mechanics, don't get me wrong, mechanics, they play a part. You know, but if you're like an offensive psychologist, then you're going to have a totally different mindset. Whereas a defensive psychologist, those double-handers, bunting, staying tight, not the fluidity of racket head speed, all those sort of things are what they prefer. They're in their wheelhouse because they're staying tight, they're staying controlled. Yeah, they feel they're in control with that stiffness. Yeah. Which, but if I try and hit like a normal double-handed backhand, like a nice fluent one, back fence. It's not something you practice. No. So it's, you know, and it's different for each person. Like, I just don't feel comfortable having that second hand on the racket. Neither do I, dude. I used to teach a fucking thing, but I still don't feel. You know, I don't. The only time I like it is in short court, cross courts. So like when I can just stand there and go, oh yeah, like, you know, that's about the only time, and that's for shits and giggles, but not actually hitting a ball. Yeah. Or if I shit myself at the net and someone's crossed it over there and I haven't got time, the other hand will stay on. Yep, it's like I haven't had a chance to move my hand off, or yeah, like that's the only time. And I used to double-handed lob. What? Huh? Yeah, what? I would actually lob as a two-hander on my backhand side, and not my single-hander, just because I didn't have that confidence in the single-hander, because it's not something we sort of ever practiced, was backhand lobs, and something that I've never really still practiced. I just do it on occasion out of survivability, and I'd literally, it was like a Murray lob. Double-hander sky ball straight deep into the court. Yeah. But I think you're overthinking it. Because realistically, you stand on like the amount of time you spend on a tennis court now, feeding a ball to someone. Just like when you start a hit up. Yeah. You know when it's a shit feed. Like, we've had hits where you've gone, sorry, bro. Like, But that, in itself, you don't need a coach to. You already know that where you've hit it is shit. Yeah. Like, that in itself, just feeding a ball, putting that element of control off, putting the ball over there. That's what it really basically comes down to. That's what tennis is all fucking about. Putting this fucking yellow fuzzer over there where they ain't. Yeah.
You know, and to get that there, that's where it comes from. That broader control of now. Okay, I'm going to expand that. Okay, we'll do a bit of this.
Yeah.
So next time you're on the freaking court, don't stand there and slap down 50 of your 200k serves or your big kicker, or you know, just bounce some floppers on the baseline and just lollipop city, and then even have a bit of a brush, have a bit of a fences finish, try and get some of the top rotation instead of just playing under it.
Yeah.
You know, but like, it's that. Don't overthink that shit. Like, just, you know, where can I jump to when I'm at the net? Okay, I can jump this high. So let's put the ball a metre over that, and let's do 20 of them in a row to the other opposite baseline.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
There we go. Done.
You know, like, yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't think we had enough fun tennis.
No.
That's what we didn't do enough of. Like, I spent so much time drilling you, getting you up to speed.
That's what I wanted though too.
You're a fucking hothead.
Yeah.
So
it's getting better.
I could watch your break. Like.
I must admit, it is getting better. After I had to start paying for all my own rackets and realised how expensive it got. The hot-headedness level has dropped quite a bit.
Yeah, I know that one.
When you get the rackets that I do and the strings, $400 a pop is
bloody hell.
very costly if you constantly break it.
Yeah, it is, 100%.
I think
it's a fucking, like, as far as the psychology of it, like, it's. Like, I understand now so much more, and it's easy for me to say it now, but, like, my old doubles partner, if he watches this, he's going to laugh his ass off. Like, my old man would be travelling around just cracking up at the fact that I used to be that much of a sore loser. Racket breaker. Like, I was a fucking psycho. I got threatened by my ex-coach and tournament officials. Like, get thrown the fuck out. Shut up. Like, carrying on ridiculously.
Yeah, and
I know what being a sore loser and being a cranky motherfucker is all about. Like, but honestly, speeding experience, it's the worst thing for your game.
Oh yeah, not only that, you look like a fucking idiot when you're doing it too.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, look, when I was on court, I didn't really give two fucks about how I looked most of the time. Unless there was enough good-looking chicks around and you want to look good. But most of the time, I didn't give a fuck. I was too much of a competitive wanker to be. I just wanted to compete. But I'm not competing at all. Like, I've talked to you about the discipline as far as you were great with technique and how much you picked on technique. You know, there's a technical aspect to the brain that we're not looking at here, and we're leaving this technique out. This technical approach on how we should get our mindset right, not just our swing patterns, not just our mechanics, but our mindset.
Oh yeah, that's that breakthrough level that a lot of people don't get.
Mate, that's what differentiates the pros between the weekend warriors. Like, it's. Once you get to, say, the level, so like when I was playing my best tennis, once you get just above that, or even where I was at, so much of it is not a physicality thing. It's a war of attrition. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. If I played like Gavin, Van Pepperzell, Heather's son, like he was about 400 in the world. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't get a game off him. I wouldn't, and playing my best tennis, I wouldn't get a game off him. Yeah. You know. Not even that 15 years difference in age, and he's a super fit and all that sort of shit. Like, just look at when I was playing my best tennis, I wouldn't get a game because of that much. There's levels. Yeah. So if he's playing someone at around that 4, and their levels are for them, it's purely a game of chess and atrophy. Like, whose cardio is going to fuck out? Yeah. Who's going to tap out? Who's just going to give up?
At that point, who's going to break mentally first?
Yeah, or who's going to be mentally good enough to be able to exploit the other person's weaknesses. Yeah. And they should both have the same sort of amount. They might be different. He might be his forehand cross court. He might be going back in behind. Could be their backhand. It could be their second serve. Could be whatever it is. Whatever the fuck it is.
There's always something.
There's always.
Even in the pros, there is always something.
Yeah, fucking earth.
E.g. Nick Kyrgios. Not a popular character, but he picks on Nadal for standing 6 meters behind the baseline. Yeah. Drops the underarm. I mean, that's a very cheeky example of it, but
100%.
That's what he does. Nadal stands like meters and meters behind the baseline.
The first player I've seen exploit him would have been Songer.
Oh really? I didn't. Yeah, I've never seen Songer and
just stepping in and taking a ball on the rise at 3/4 court instead of waiting for the ball to drop down. Yeah. And I think it was at the Aussie Open, and everyone was just like,
oh, shit.
What the fuck? It was the first time like someone had just pumped Nadal convincingly.
Yeah.
And that's literally what he did. Every time Nadal had just ripped the fuck out of his forehand and just forehand, left hand.
Yeah, he's a lefty. Come on. You forgot the lasso too. By the time
he's trying to shuffle back in, Songer's already taken this ball about a foot in the air on the rise and just fucking bitch slapping it.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely just monstered.
Well, when it's up above the net and you're at 3/4 court, you can flatten it out astronomically.
Well, once you pick the torque, I think that's the biggest thing. Most people, you get into this sort of the bite off the ground that you can get off a really good quality rubber cord, off a new ball that's been hit by just one of the greatest kings of spin. Like, the movement he's gonna, and the fucking, just the speed that it picks up off the ground, and the sort of the change in angle, that little slight variance, that
especially being a lefty, they're not as sort of straight over the top as a lot of righties. They do come around it a bit more, so it does.
He does it intentionally, though. That's the thing, you know. He dragged through and played late, like it was just.
Well, take his banana shot. He smacks it from outside of the court, and it's just
whips. Yeah, that's that
straight.
Yeah,
yep, straight in the court.
Sampras was the first I'd seen do that. Just hook this fucking thing, or Graf, even seen Graf do it.
Yeah.
Just hook a ball and just go what?
And just watch it. Oh yeah, it's outside. Oh no, that's it. That landed in. Shit. A lot. That's a thing that lefties can do a lot easier. I've seen a couple. I don't know
if that's the case, because mechanically it's the same thing. It's an arm, it's a racket, it's a ball.
Yeah.
The only variance would be is if they're playing a right-hander and they've already given them sort of the commencement of the angle, and they're playing. You know, you play each other's lines. So if you go cross court, for me to go cross court is so much more of a natural thing. Whereas if I'm going to go then play that down the line, that's a motherfucker. If I'm changing the line of play, especially later, well, fuck. The only reason I'm doing that most time later is because I'm caught late.
Yeah, because you're like, oh shit, it's either that far out or you've, footwork might have been subpar running across or something like that.
Yeah. Or it's that whole sort of when you get into that cross-court duel and it's like, who's going to do it first, motherfucker? Who's going to have a slap down there first?
Yeah, it's like, okay, no, he didn't do it. Oh, that ball's just a bit too deep, I can't do it. And I've had many a rally with my coach like that, and that was one thing we were working on, is sort of keeping that cross-court, but not getting sucked into doing it long-term.
Yep.
And waiting for that one that's just that bit shorter, just bang straight down the line, and you're coming into the court. You'd be at probably 3/4 court, if not just a little bit behind coming into it, and it's picking up, it's above the net, and prepare early, get there on time, and that's pretty much the point, because they're over there waiting for you. Because by the time they've realised that you've moved in, and what you're gonna do, they haven't actually moved. Well, that's the level of the people that I'm playing at. Obviously.
and then you'll see that goes even more. That's sort of where people get to the stage where the movement is like anticipation. It's almost flipping a fucking coin. If someone's serving at 200 or 180 all day, then you kind of just stand there going, "Fuck, I'm just gonna." If you don't start to read the ball toss and the position of the feet and the shoulders to see, okay, this motherfucker does this to go wide, or
we'll take. I can't remember who he was against, but Zverev. There was one or two tournaments where he was like serving his first serve consistently, like 220, 223, that sort of shit.
Yeah.
And I remember the interview afterwards from his opponent. I can't remember who it was, but I remember him saying it got to a point where I was guessing.
Yeah.
Because he was hitting that serve so consistently and that powerfully. I mean, fuck, the guy's the same height as me, 6'4", 6'5". Yep. Why not take advantage of it?
Yeah, 100%.
When you slap it, when you have a ball coming at you at, 220, you've barely got any time, and he literally said I'm just guessing at this point. I can't get a read on it. I can't get a read on the bounce either. He was just purely guessing.
Well, this is where the whole sort of levels come into it. Like, I couldn't tell you the actual speed, but off memory it was based on Roddick's serve, so
it's not the one where he destroyed the clay court, was it?
No, it's based on reactionary time. So at the time of his serve, they talked about where Nadal would make contact off the Roddick pace and where he'd stand and where the next person would stand. On average, it was 0.4. It was just under half a second. So you got under half
Roddick's
under half a second. Just to fuck it, and that's not to decide what the fuck's going on.
That's to get
make
there
contact.
and hit the ball.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's exactly. So all this other shit's unfolding before we even reach the point of going, hey,
between where's the ball, where have I got to get to, what am I going to hit, where am I going to hit it?
Yeah, and that's where this
It's half a second.
That's where I talk about that sort of the levels. Like it becomes so reactionary that it's almost a pinprick. You know, I put my finger down and this happens. It's not a matter of, ow, it's hurting me, I better take my finger off.
Yeah,
it's involuntary.
Thanks.
You know, and that's what these guys have. The ball gets struck and there's a movement without them actually processing what to do. It's programmed in.
Yeah.
You know,
And
that's,
I mean, when they're doing it 5-7 times a day from when they were a lot younger, which honestly, I wish I'd stuck with tennis. Because, I mean, might not be on the Pro Tour, might be I would have loved to have been just Challenger Tour even.
Yep.
Just to, because Jack Sock's coming back. He's currently working on he's won a couple of challenges.
Yeah.
In the past couple of months,
I have no
singles and
doubt that
doubles.
he'll be able to do all right.
Yeah, I mean, look at his forehand. I obviously don't mean this in offence, but it is the most fucked up grip for a forehand. Like, it is so far around. If he held his fist up like that, the racket's not even dead straight. It is still, like, twisted over.
It's pretty extreme.
It is extreme. But
He's, same as Roddick, mate. That's why Roddick just cranking that fucking grip around here too much, tucking that elbow,
Yep,
and not getting the actual that point of that full fucking snap through on that racket head because it's always through at tension.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird because I suppose they're at a point too where transitions were made. Like tennis has evolved so much.
Well, not only that, he actually the reason why once he was, I think he was in top 20.
Yeah,
I believe top. I don't know if he broke top 10, but I know he was definitely in the top 20. Actually, I believe it was damaged ligaments in his right thumb and right through his hand, and that's why he had months and months and months off the tour, and it took him so long to come back. Was because it was a hand injury.
That'd be pretty devastating.
Yeah,
a tennis player would fucking lose in your hand.
Well, that's what he said.
Because I got that trapezoid, and it's like that fucking thing.
Yeah, I think
that bone like put me out for 6 months coaching with my left hand.
Oh,
but still just starting it off the whole process of I'm running 2 complexes now. I'm the head coach of 2 complexes.
You got to work.
11 courts to take care of, and all of a sudden I can't get on court at all.
Yeah,
like it can't happen.
Yeah, no.
I've got to be able to functionally put a ball from here to there somehow, some way. I've got another hand, just make do.
Yeah.
You know, so like even with the other guy I had the complex with, Jace, like I'd get on court with him and just feed out balls, just have a hit, just trying to get used to that left hand.
Yeah.
You know, and then the next day it's just like, hey, I've got 4 hours of coaching with my littlies today, so littlies are all getting purely left-handed.
Yeah.
And it was Muppet City to start, don't get me wrong, you know.
Oh, it always is, but you persisted.
Yeah, but I mean, that's at the most basic level, just to pop a ball over, like, you know,
when you're so used to doing something with, you know, not even your dominant hand, just that's the hand you're used to doing. Like, if I pick up a racket in my left hand, it's like,
oh, it's foreign as shit.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean,
so imagine that being your pay grade. Yeah. Like that's your money maker, and then you've torn ligaments in it.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
I believe it was 2017 that he did that.
Yeah, what a stressful life being a tennis player. Being any athlete. Like these athletes, man, you hurt yourself, your window is so small.
Yeah, and it's like, you have to get this fixed. You have to get this fixed no matter what, whichever way possible, and get back on.
Did you see any of the fights over the weekend? Did you hear about any of them?
The fights, which...
So you had Triller presented bloody fucking spewing he lost. Ben Askren fought... what's that cockhead's name? Jake Paul.
Yeah, I saw.
Dead shit.
Yeah.
Dead shit.
Oh,
he's
that
a
guy's
fucking dead shit, bro.
Dead shit.
It's hilarious watching the press conference between someone who's a proper professional athlete and someone who can sit like, oh, I'm a real fighter, and then just seeing the way he interacts. It's not even a youth thing. It's not his age. He's just a certifiable fucking half-tard.
What do you expect? He had... I can't remember how many millions of subs on YouTube before his account got banned for showing that body in the suicide forest in Japan.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything about this dude, man. I just know I've heard of his brother.
Logan,
Yeah, and the only reason I'd even heard of him is because originally there was a YouTube star that was going to have a boxing fight. That's the only reason I'd even heard of any of these motherfuckers. I've watched them do some things now just because of Askren. Jake's a dead shit. Like
Oh.
he's just a dead shit,
Yeah.
and Logan sort of knows it. He mentions it like I've only watched one thing. He's got a Impulsive or something, Impulsive. It's his podcast, and and he talks about even with my brother, he might everything he does like I mightn't agree with. So it's just like stop right there. You already know.
Yeah.
And by the way he presents himself, they're chalk and cheese now. Like Logan tries to be a bit more cutting edge, but he's more Captain America in comparison to this fucking Dr. Jekyll and Hyde wannabe fucktard. So I was so disappointed, and for Askren, just for the sheer fact that I think it was more the fact that I just don't like Jake.
Yeah.
Well,
everyone was saying he took a dive.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It was a heavy right hand. It was a fair dinkum right hand. I'm not saying he can't throw. I'm not saying he can't. I'm not even saying he can't box. But we're not going to know unless he fights a boxer, because he's not fighting boxers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I never actually saw the fight. I saw all the reports on it where it was like, oh, did he take a dive? Did he not take a dive? He won this.
Right. Straight, just fully just uncoiled crack, mate. Brought the shoulders in, trunk rotation, fucking delivered.
Actually.
Yeah. Just on the button.
Yep.
It was beautiful. Askren got up, jumped up, hit the deck, but jumped up. And then the ref had a chat with him, and he was like,
"Yeah, that's right. I saw the report, and he said,
bullshit,
"Oh no,
man.
I wanted to keep going." And then the ref
he
said
was happy
he
to keep
can't
going. He would have got dropped again. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he would have. And that's his whole thing was he was hoping that he could just hang in there for those first 4 rounds, so that then he could start to. But I just don't think he has enough. It's enough pop, enough snap, and he got clubbed. So
yeah, I mean anyone getting clubbed like that,
yeah, and it's easy to club. It's a lot easier to club someone when you don't feel like they threaten you with their club.
Yeah.
I'm going to belt the fuck out of someone with a baseball bat if they're running at me with a chopstick.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I know.
There's no threat. There's no threat, and the guy he was fighting didn't give off any threat as far as being able to really.
It wasn't no intimidation.
His face.
Yeah.
Fucking mozzies. Gotta love this down by the river. So that's my only thing. I would have liked to have seen the just before they fought, the guy that was in his corner, Woodley.
Sorry.
You're right, bro. Yeah. Tyrone Woodley went in to watch the gloves, to inspect the gloves and see the strapping, which you can do. A cornerman can go in a boxing, see the other guy, get him strapped, check everything's cool.
Yep.
And these motherfuckers are just giving him attitude. It's like, man,
Seriously?
don't staunch up to him, because if he you're not in the ring now. You're in the dressing room.
Yeah.
So if he grabs you, you're fucking dead. He's not gonna. This guy's jiu-jitsu, this is an MMA 5-time world champion. So not only is this guy got a mad overhand right, but he'll grab you and pick you up and fucking throw you down on the ground and rip you a new asshole and then fucking eat it.
Yeah, you don't.
Disrespectful young motherfuckers, man. And this other clown that was his cornerman's talking shit, trying to eye him up. It's like, mate, you're not in a boxing ring. Don't fucking staunch up. He'll kick your testicles through the top of your skull, and you won't even know what's going on.
Yeah, especially as you said, he's an MMA champion.
Yeah, man. His ex. Don't get me wrong. He's past his use-by date, but even him past his use-by date, he would have fucked both of them. He would have fucked them up.
They wouldn't have even. They're like, hang on a second. Why the fuck am I on the ground?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 And then by then he's dropped 2 or 3 elbows and just sliced you open.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and now he's got all these people he's calling out. So Woodley's just straight away just called him out and said, "I'll fight you. I'll fucking fight you." He may get Woodley in a boxing fight. He may get him because Woodley's just got this massive right hand, but I don't think he's got the jab, the check work, the footwork, the necessity.
I did see he stupidly called out McGregor.
Yeah,
no, by stupidly, I'm not talking about it was stupid to call him out. I'm talking about the way he called him out. He was full on, pretty much balls out cocky. I'm gonna pretty much rip you a new asshole. I'll pay you $50 million to come and fight me, and all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
And that's what I think it was. It was he will pay McGregor to come and fight him.
Yeah.
I mean, boxing probably get it done. McGregor in the octagon, I haven't seen him do anything sort of recently, only bits of snippets here and there, but Jake in an octagon are just...
Yeah, look, I
it's too much of a weight difference though. Like McGregor's fighting at 155, and Jake Paul's like fucking. I think they fought at 190.
Shit, so that is a massive difference.
You know, he's a cruiserweight. Should be 185, motherfucker, 190. But anyway.
Why is he calling out lightweight? No, middleweight.
He's just calling out. Well,
he's just calling out the big names.
I don't know the numbers as far as like I don't think his was projected when I looked this up last night, but he's quoted online saying it was sold 1.5, or Triller, one of the reps have come out and said it sold 1.5 million pay-per-views. So that like that's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. Very solid, don't get me wrong. The biggest is like 4.3. I think that was Mayweather Pacquiao, who's the top one.
Oh yeah.
And then the next one down, oh, fuck me, dude.
It wasn't. Oh, Mayweather and McGregor was 2 point something, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2.5.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. So
if you think about it, that's still 2.5 million.
That's still a million off. It's still, you know, and I think that was the third one.
Yeah.
I think Mayweather Pacquiao, was 4.3, and then it was Mayweather McGregor was it was 2.5. Fuck, what was the one in between? There's one in between. So essentially, you know, he's still got to make. It's still a bit of a jump to get to that next spot, but if he gets McGregor in, then he knows straight away. Like that's a massive, massive pay per view. Yeah, huge. But McGregor's not going to stoop to that level. He's not going to. He's some chump. You know, like he's not. There's other guys that are at the end of their career now that will take that payday and use it. You know, like Woodley. That'd be good money for him. You know, that's a good bit of coin to be earning. So, and he'd be, he's got better hands, but it's still not that. It's a different science, man. I've really started to appreciate. Like it's a pity because I love my tennis, but I don't have the same love for tennis anymore. I don't watch it. I'll watch some highlights of matches if Feds is on or Rafa's on. Like if there's some great tennis players on, I will watch, but I don't give it the time that I used to. Nowhere near. Like it gets 0.5%. Rugby league's the same. Like I used to love rugby league. I'll watch highlights now. Like a fight, sit me down for a fight, and I'm salivating. And now, and like even boxing, boxing was a bit how you going, but then, you know, then I started watching stuff on Lomachenko and Usyk, and there's all these guys out there, you know, Gennady, Triple G, and where are these guys? These guys have been around for a while, and then you've got the new heavyweights that have come out to start make some noise again, and all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, I'm loving it. So there's just so much on as far as watching professional fights at a high level.
Yeah.
And now Bellator's pulling out some good shit. You got ONE FC that's got constantly thrown out free. Like you can watch 3.5 hours online of just free awesome fights. Like, so when you got all this high level quality now, it's not like it was, you know, 10 or 15 years ago. And that's why a lot of the other sports, like even league, man, there's some games in rugby league I'm watching, I'm just going, this is shit. Like you guys are fucking paid professionals. You get paid to throw a footy around every fucking day, basically.
And
every day.
Putting out this shit.
And yeah, you can't throw a ball off both sides of your body.
Yeah.
Like how the fuck can you be a halfback or a 5'8", or how can you be any position on a footy paddock? Oh, I play left centre. Oh, I don't need to throw this. Get fucked, mate. Get fucked. Yeah, that should be a basic thing, a fundamental as far as just movement goes. Being able to throw with that same level of dexterity or you know, of mechanics, like of ease. But instead, we've got these people that flop a ball one side and torp the other, and it's like, how the fuck are you $400,000 a year? This is ridiculous. It's a fucking joke.
$400,000 a year to do
that, man. And it's the same as tennis, you know. Like I can't. Watching subpar tennis, someone hit the second serve at like 140, 150, and you're just like, what the fuck is this? You're a professional? People paid money to come in and watch this? This is shit. This is shit.
I must admit, there was a time where tennis recently, by recently I mean like, I think it was 2019 or something, beginning of 2020, somewhere around that period where it almost did seem as if that level had dropped.
Yep.
But now we've got... like almost the entire top 10 has changed.
Okay.
In men's tennis.
Yep.
Medvedev's number 2. He's only 2,000 points behind Djokovic. That's a Grand Slam.
Oh, fuck! I hate Djokovic.
Don't even get me fucking started on that.
Yeah, what a cockhead. What a cock.
Egotistical maniac.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he's.
I can't stand that motherfucker. Yeah.
But yeah, no, top 10's almost completely changed. I think. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look this up. I can't, but I believe it's like Berrettini, like Matteo Berrettini, the Italian.
Yeah.
He shot out of nowhere last year. Now he's 10th, I believe. Schwartzman. He's 9th.
Really?
Somewhere around there, yeah. I believe it. Feds is now at 8. Rublev, the Russian, he's at 7. Holy shit, that forehand that he can hit. Like, if you know how you were talking about not feeding it to Feds' forehand, don't ever give it to Rublev's forehand. Ever. Like, you've seen Del Potro's forehand. Same pace, if not more. And more consistent.
Increase. It's that fucking, ready to go. Bringing back consciousness quicker. So when you get rattled, like, that's what some of these fighters have been done for now. You know, not worry about getting jacked on the juice. We just need to be able to make sure we can go all fucking day. We're running on high octane.
Yeah.
You know, even if we're not lifting more, my recovery time's 100%.
Yeah.
You know, and everything else, my timing, my speed is all 100%.
Yeah.
So that's a fucking advantage, big time. You know, and there's other fighters out there talking about how they get on the shrooms. You know, so I mean, look, there's advantages in everything, but when it comes to the fact that you know for a fact that it's halving recovery and things like that, that's just everyone should be on it. Everyone should be on it because it's fucking so straight up cheating because you have an obvious advantage that your opponent doesn't have.
Yeah, well that's meant to be the whole point of that drug detection and anti-doping and all that sort of shit.
But they're always behind. They've never been. You know what I mean? Like they're only going to catch the low-based cheats because they're the guys just trying to get in with whatever they can. They haven't got the money to get all the scientists or a good doctor to really work with them and take a cut and all.
Yeah.
But mate, one of the guys got on. When Lance first come out, one of his ex-team members that had come out and talked about it and threw him in it. His interview as an Aussie.
Yeah.
He's been interviewed a couple of times, and I listened to one of his first interviews on Australian radio, and he was talking about basically how he was in Spain to get an injection, and the whole team was. So they all went in to get their injection done. He goes, and there was 2 Spanish tennis players in there at the time, and apparently this doctor works with 5. And they're like, is there anyone we know? He goes, mate, there's Spanish tennis players.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to know them. You know, and at that time, there was, you know, it wasn't Berrettini, it would have been Nadal, it was all the people that we knew, you know?
Shit.
It's, to think that, first time I'd seen Nadal play on a hard court, do like 4.5 hours, and then play like within 24 hours or something later, you're just thinking, what the fuck?
The fuck are you doing for your recovery time?
And then Murray, they come out, I remember watching years ago, they come out with shit about how Murray, when he does the hardcore tour, he gets on anti-inflammatories for months. Like, what the fuck are you doing to your body? You know? And those sort of old school tricks, they ain't the shit anymore.
Yeah.
We're moving too far forward, you know? People are fucking getting babies designed through CRISPR, for Christ's sake, so... You know?
Designer babies.
Yeah, man. Fucking hell. But honestly, I just, I don't know. Just don't have the same. It doesn't get my blood pumping anymore, the old game of tennis. I like getting on, having a slap, you know. But as far as watching it, like, unless it's high level stuff that I can sit there and sort of go, yeah, fuck yeah. But I hate watching Muppets, man. I hate watching professionals just fumble. It's like, you guys are supposed to be the best of the best.
Yeah.
And I feel like my male ego's kicking in. I'm like, I can get out there with a bit of training and fucking kick your ass. You know, obviously I can't, but, you know, I hate, when you watch the best of the best, you don't imagine that. You don't think that. You just think, you go, oh my God, this guy's a killer.
E.g., anytime I watch Feds, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Poetry, man. Poetry emotion makes it look so easy, motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, my coach is the same. He's a one-hander as well.
Yeah.
And right-hander, he said that backhand.
Yeah.
That's what you need to aspire to. I mean, you're not going to get to that level, but that is just almost flawless.
Yeah, no, it's lovely to watch. His fluidity is, it's
the fluidity between everything, mate. He's not the most powerful server in the world, but how many times has he pinpointed that exact point that he needs?
Yeah, well, you just get the average tennis player over the course of 10 years and talk about their consistency in numbers and and percentage of power, then he's going to be up there.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be definitely up there. You know, I know it's not the biggest, but he can clock around the 200 quite consistently.
Yeah.
No worries, and he'll put it on a dime.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then his second serve, he's not going to have the big differentiation between first and second like half of these other Muppets.
Yeah, like,
You know.
yeah, a couple of, remember when Zverev was here for the 2020 Oz Open when they did the, it's not the Davis, ATP Cup, the new one they brought in. And yeah, like his first serves, high speed, weren't consistent at all. His second serves were past, like, I think he ended up hitting one that was like 130.
Yeah, that's.
Mind you, he was, I'll give him credit, he was going through a rough patch with his serve. And they were trying to work on it, like, because I actually went to the Brisbane International for that.
Okay.
And I saw him
How
in
does that happen?
I don't know.
How can you be a professional
And go
that's
through
in
a
the
rough
top
patch.
fucking? Well,
Top
no,
10.
I understand the rough patch. That I do understand.
Yeah.
But as far as being technically needing a change, and you're in the top 50 in the world,
Yeah.
like what the fuck? Like technically, like if that hasn't been pointed out to you by now, and how did you get there?
Yeah.
It's a very hard thing to change late in the game. There are, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that there's always room to evolve. Sharapova,
Yep.
modified her serve. Joker's changed his serve on several occasions.
I think the last change was something like 2012, and from that point it went. Mind you, one of his coaches is Ivanisevic.
Goran
Goran,
Ivanisevic.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think at that point when he came on board, that's when his serve changed.
Okay. Well, that explain a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's still part of his coaching team. But yeah, I believe that was around that point. And then thank fuck they introduced that goddamn serve clock. I can't bear to watch him play and he's doing
disgusting.
20, 30, 40 bounces. It's like,
It's
just
cheating,
serve the
bro.
fucking ball.
It's cheating, bro. It's fucking cheating.
Yeah.
All you're doing is allowing someone to just fuck with someone's head
Yep.
by exploiting the rules. And openly too. So it's like that'd be the same as if his opponents would then when he's ready to bounce the ball and serve, they just get up and turn around. And then do it every single time he goes to serve.
Yeah.
Now, or say he's not serving. Say you're receiving.
Yeah.
And you're a receiver and you've got a tactic. When someone goes to serve, you just turn your back. They've run a fucking boo, mate.
Yeah.
People would get their shits and people would boo. Like, it's
Yeah, yeah.
disrespectful. He does the same shit. He's exploiting a rule.
Yep.
It's fucking bullshit.
Well, now, from the point where the umpire calls the score, they've got 25 seconds.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's to go, wipe down, get the balls, get ready, serve.
Yep.
And you have to have started your motion before that clock hits 0.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a warning, and then it's point. Warning, then a point violation, then a game violation.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. I'm not sure, but it is the first one is a warning, and then it is a violation.
I bet Serena loves it.
I know Kyrgios has had a couple of run-ins with umpires about that, but not like getting time violations. But a lot of the times, because his service, what would you call the start of a service motion? Because it can't be when you're bouncing the ball. I think it'd have to be from the point where you finish bouncing that ball and that ball is touching your racket and you're getting to either rock back or rock twice and then go up, or because that's one argument he had. He was in his motion. He'd finished bouncing the ball and he had the ball on his thing, and because he does usually 2 rocks and then he comes up.
Yeah.
He literally had done the first rock. He's about to do the second one, and the umpire gave him a time violation. What do you class as the beginning of a service motion? Because
As soon as your feet are set.
even me, like I've got mine. I don't have that extreme anymore. It's a certain amount of bounces. I usually do about 4, and that sort of can't. I don't know. It's more of a trigger to sort of calm my mind, focus on serving. So it's usually 4 bounces and then balls on the racket. That's it. And then at that point, that's where I'm coming up and then going down. Start of the service motion, is that where I put that ball to the racket? Or is that where I've actually thrown the ball up? Or is that where the racket drops before it comes up?
No, because not everyone drops.
Exactly. How do you work out? I think that was his point, that with that whole argument with that umpire, and I believe he's not the only one. He's just the one that first pops to mind because obviously he blew up a bit about it. But because everyone,
I would say when you go to supinate and present the palm up with the ball.
Oh, like after you finished bouncing it and it's...
Well, as soon as yeah, because you're bouncing.
Yeah, and you're like that, and then...
Yeah, and as soon as that comes to, like, you're not bouncing anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm obviously not all the way, and I'm about halfway because it's just touching sort of the tip of the racket.
Oh, well, you don't even... Yeah, okay, say the fact that you're not in pronation, like the fact that your palm to the side or...
Yeah, something like that. That should be that, but they don't have a clear... There's no sort of clear ruling as to what the start of a service motion was. And that's what he's hold. Because I believe it was not long.
That's a bit of a fucker.
Yeah, when they first introduced the shot clock, there was a lot of arguments from him, but that was, I can't remember what it was. And then I remember seeing like a timer between him serving and Rafa serving. There was like a 10-second time difference, and Rafa had gone over the time limit, and he hadn't gotten the violation. But I think he's just been salty at that point. But there was one time, I think it was about 6 to 12 months after it was introduced, where that had happened. And he's like, well, hang on, I have started my service motion. This is part of my motion.
Yeah.
And I believe there is still no clear point as to what is defined as the start of a motion, because everyone's different. Yeah. I mean, people do things while they're bouncing the balls. They do things after they bounce the balls. Fuck, Rafa, nose, hair, pulling his wedgie out.
Bouncing the ball's the start of the motion, though. Like, if you're going to be realistic, setting your fucking feet is the start of the motion.
But then the problem with that is 100%. That allows Joker to do what he used to do.
100%. Oh, I'm just talking about, like, if you're going to classify what is the start of a motion, well, the first thing you do is you got to get in position. Yeah, so there you go.
Position, feet set.
As soon as I've stood in the right fucking spot, before I've bounced, before I've done anything, as soon as I get my feet there and I get set, okay, I'm about to start my motion, like right now. So
and that brings me back to habits. Some people have different habits. I've got a 4-ball bounce before I'll start my motion. Rafa's got his nose, his hair, and his wedgie. And that's all while he's bouncing the ball with his racket.
Used to just be his wedgie.
Yeah, no, now it's nose full of hair, wipe the sweat off hair, and pull the wedgie out, and then he gets it and gets ready. Obviously, fuck knuckle was 20, 30, 40 million ball bounces.
Yeah.
But thank God that got cut out. And Kyrgios is a couple of short, very short bounces, because when he bounces the ball, he's leaning over and he's only bouncing the ball like that high off the court, and then he's there ready to go. Everyone's just got these slight little habits. Like Zverev, before he starts, he takes a big step back. Either that or it'd be a big step back because he pins, so that's okay. They can do that sort of shit.
And it just purely has to be the wind up.
Yeah.
That's the only place you can be.
Yeah. Is it that point where you're not just there doing that and you're
there? You're not winding up then, you're bouncing.
Yeah.
So that's still, the clock's still ticking over.
Yeah. At that point where you actually start that wind up, whether it's a drop, whether it's a lean back as you're, coming up like that, they should make a clear definition of that. So I reckon that is part of the problem with that. There is no set definition as what the start of a serve is. Because they have in the rules, the shot clock starts at
commencement of momentum.
Commencement. Yeah, that'd be the
Can't be a stall.
No.
Like, how you're saying, like, I used to have that sort of, start with the racket out in front before
racket you even... in front.
Yeah, but I mean, you could stand there and hold that for 5 or 6 seconds if you really want to be a dickhead. Like, if you want to, it's a tense moment, I'm just going to fucking take it in. Yeah. But I mean, so I think...
Start of motion.
All that shit's going to be the clock ticking over, and as soon as momentum begins, then that's it.
Yeah, because, like, a lot of people, he takes a massive step back, and, like, even some people, they don't drop the racket like a lot of people do. They're just straight up like that. I believe Isner one of them. No, I think Isner still has a racket drop, but his hand doesn't drop. It's just bang straight up.
Yeah, but when you're 17'8", like, whatever he is, 6'8" or something ridiculous. 7'4", what is he? 7'2", like some fucking ridiculous. He's something ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I believe it's 6'11" or something like that. No, okay.
Fuck.
I gotta check this. This is just annoying the shit out of me now. I am fact checking this right now.
6'9", I'm gonna say.
John Isner's height, I'm gonna say 6'11". 6'10", 2.08 meters.
Fair smack bang in the middle. There we go.
Motherfucker. And
Yeah.
he's 35. And
So he ain't got long to go. Those knees can't handle that shit.
no. Well, then you got people like Anderson too. He's 2.03. There's the African, and there is one more. Riley Opelka,
Well, no.
2.11. He is 6'11".
Where's he from? Denmark.
US. No.
Yeah.
Born St. Joseph's, Michigan.
Jesus.
Yeah. Right hand, two-handed backhand. I mean, he's not.
Go back a couple of decades now. I'm sure the numbers have gone up higher, but the average height of the players in the men's top 100 men's was 6'4".
Oh, average tennis player height. Look at that. Obviously, people have been doing average height of the top. Okay, so they've got top 10.
Oh, okay, top 10.
Top 10.
No, it's not the
6'3".
same. Yeah. I was going to say the reason it was such a contrasting result when they brought up the top 100 is because the players at the time that were at the top
Yeah.
it was like just at the start of Nadal and Federer's sort of,
Yeah. Well,
killing
Federer's.
everyone. 185.
Yeah.
185, both of them 185. Check
Yeah.
it out. 100%.
Yeah.
185.
Well, the other thing is you got average top 10, 190.9 centimeters, so 6'3".
There you go. So,
Schwartzman's in that.
Two
He's
best,
like
a
5
185.
foot. I don't know what he is. He
Yeah,
looks
he's
like he's
midge.
5'4"
Yeah,
or some shit like
comparison,
that.
Yeah.
Obviously that's going to bring it down, but yeah, look, it's saying a large number of tennis players are between 183, 188. As I said, don't know how consistent it is. Average height of 11 to 25, 6'1".
11 to 25.
11 to 25.
Yeah.
And this isn't I know
Not
it
tennis
is,
players,
it's male.
though, because then it's going to be male and female.
No, it's referencing Nishikori, Fonini, Goffin, so they are male.
Yeah, Nishikori.
Nishikori, yeah.
Yeah, like one of the shortest.
But Goffin, I think he's only 5'10". He's not very tall.
Okay.
But yeah, and then oh no, okay, yeah, this obviously isn't as of November 2019, so it is a little bit behind.
No,
So they're
still pretty
referencing.
new.
So that's not including Schwartzman in the top 10 then.
Yeah, okay.
Because he's only recently broken through. But that's there you go. Schwartzman's 5'7", 170 centimeters tall. There you go.
Fuck.
Average height
Cool.
26 to 50. That's it. Yeah, it's 6'2". They're actually taller. 189.3.
What? So it's from 50 to 100 that are all the tall fuckers.
Well, yeah, 26 to 50s. Yep. And that's Opelka, Anderson. Opelka's the guy that's 6'1", 211 centimeters tall. And Dan Evans, 5'9". And yeah, you've got 51 to 75s, 184. So they're short again. Shortest player in that's Nishioka. He's 5'7", same height as Schwartzman.
Hey, you're doing it tough, man.
Yeah.
5'7", just through reach
Oh yeah,
or lack thereof.
and 76 to 100s, 184, 6'1".
Okay, well, there you go. That's changed massively.
And
Last
as I said, that's like
2
2019.
decades. Yeah.
Tallest player in that 6'6", Nicholas Jarry at 198.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, that's just. And oh shit, I forgot about Carla. How did I
Well,
forget
that's
about?
where I suppose the mobility has become such a factor in the last 10 to 20 years.
Oh, they can
whereas
move a lot quicker.
When I was a kid, I remember them bringing up things about like trying to stop people jumping when they were serving.
Really?
Yeah, well, they said it was just deemed as such an unnatural advantage for someone who was tall.
Oh, okay.
You know, because when I was a kid, like tennis players weren't tall at all. You know, Michael Chang, fucking Pat Cash.
Yeah.
You know, like these guys are not big guys. Sampras wasn't the tallest thing in the world. Edberg wasn't the tallest. Goran was tall.
Yeah,
You know,
but
but
he
I think
wasn't.
Goran's only like 6'4" or something off memory.
Yeah, he's not. He's not
ridiculous.
massive. He's
Yeah, no.
fairly average height for today's standards.
No, Carlos Moya.
You know, fuck all these guys. They're all under 6 foot or thereabouts.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how I forgot about this. The player on like active ATP player with the most aces. I don't know how I forgot about him.
Active.
Karlovic.
Eva. Oh yeah.
Ivo Karlovic, 6'11". And what again?
Yeah.
211 centimeters. That's top 101 to 150.
But
But he's got like 11,000. I think it's. I can't remember.
He should. That anyone that's over 6'8"
Yeah.
should have a massive amount of aces just through what the ball can see through the trajectory.
Yeah.
You know, it's not fair that someone that's 5'7"
No.
they don't get to hit the same. I mean, it's not that it's not fair, but they don't get their ball doesn't see the same amount of court.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I think it was a video I saw a while ago. He was at the top with the most aces with like 11,900. And there was a video of, you know, if you could pick something from a certain player, what would you pick? A lot of them said Karlovic's serve.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him. I've seen him serve. And a lot of them, they said they can't pick it either. You can't get a read on it because it's the exact same spot every time.
Yep.
You can't read it, and you've almost got to guess.
Well, you think about it, you only have to change. Like, I used to tell you half a ball. You know,
it's not
but
even that. Yeah.
no, it's not. And especially when you're hitting at pace.
Yeah.
And then that slight change in variance at pace will also create rotation, which creates more movement. Like, fuck me dead.
Well, that's where we're at with my serve at the moment because I went...
Have you started hitting your first serve again?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, and, well, we've actually modified it because he noticed and I started noticing it through pain.
What's that?
My shoulder, I ended up using a lot more... It wasn't forced, but there was a lot more muscular and a lot less wrist than what we used to have. I think that's probably due to between lack of concentration, changing of rackets, weights, things like that.
Yep.
All of these different changes.
Yep.
I mean, I've gone from when I first started with you, the Force 98, orange Dunlop racket.
Yeah.
That thing was great.
Oh yeah, it's a good club.
And then had the Biomedic M5 that you used to have.
Yep.
Then I used your M3 for a while. That M3 is so incredibly precise.
Yeah, no,
Like,
I love
if you say,
its balance.
I want it going there, it's going there.
Yeah.
And then
I love
what
its
I moved
balance.
to from that, I had the Blade 98 CV.
Yep.
That was absolutely shit. That was absolutely
Was that one that
horrific.
used to fuck your elbow or your
Yes.
arm?
And that's when I had started using that head rip control. That's where I had to use rip control, otherwise it wasn't.
Too much.
Oh, it was way too much.
Yeah.
Multi-filament. And then I used I think at one point towards the end of its life before, and I say the end of its life because I haven't had many rackets survive. I was using like an MSV Heptatwist 1.10 or something in the mains and a Wilson Sensation, so a synthetic at 1.3 in the crosses just to soften it.
Yeah.
Mind you, that combination was perfect. Then it came to a club champs and I got frustrated and busted it and won the award for the best racket smash of the night.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, I've had that. And then that's when I got onto that Dunlop, the CX200 tool, the Kevin Anderson racket.
Bro.
That thing was great, but 95 square inch head.
That
80,
was
20.
the straightest line I've ever played off a racket. Like when you tell, like when you're saying about the M3 you tell it to go there.
Yeah.
Not like that. That was, you tell it to go there and it was like a laser level. It'd go there. But I was just too close to the net. I never got the sort of the arc in flight. I had to change my swing just way too much to modify from my lazy style of just slapping. And
I mean, you're used to, I wouldn't say bigger, standard head size, 98 square inch, but with a 16/19.
Yeah.
It's an 18/20 with a 95 square inch head, so it is.
But even if I get on like 100 square inches with an 18/20, I notice a difference in flight. Like my Prestige, that's 18/20, and like I notice it, especially on my second serves.
You don't get
and forehand straight away, like.
Yeah.
But fuck no, I can't hit that topspin backhand lob with the same level of confidence. Like whereas mine, I can just go get away.
Yeah,
just
and it just bites. And then I think after that CX, I went to the head gravities when they came out.
That's right.
100 square inch, except I went the pro, so it was an 18/20.
Guys, when you were like a full racket slut.
Oh mate,
You
were
whoring yourself out to anyone that had put it in your hand.
Mate, I think at that point before I'd tried a couple before I went to the Dunlop. I think it was only about 4. But before I went to the Gravity, I had tried like 20 something different rackets between Yonex, Prince, all of that. Like I literally even tried a Prince Phantom, and just to give it a shot. And then I tried Yonexes. I picked up the Yonex and went. Like, don't get me wrong, Yonex make great rackets and their quality control is the best. But I picked it up and went, this is shit. I just couldn't. I don't know what it was. Could have been my mentality with the racket head shape because it's that isometric head or something like that. I just picked it up and I couldn't play with it. And at that point, I picked up the gravity, and I could have sworn before I got that gravity, I tried every racket except for the head speed. That was the only one. Like, I tried the Instinct. They didn't have the new Prestige yet, which don't even get me started on the new Prestiges because they are dog shit compared to the old ones. Yeah. Their heaviest is 305, maybe 315.
Yeah, I think I remember you saying that.
Yeah, and
goes against principle.
Yeah, and then I went to the gravities, and I stuck with them for quite a while, and finally got the string sorted out, and I think I ended up using Big Banger Rough, which is nice. It's a softer poly, still got a lot of bite on it.
Bit of coin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, paying for the Luxlon brand, and then.
You buying that shit yourself wholesale?
No, not yet, because I was still up in the air, but I'm not using it anymore, so I'm somewhat glad I didn't. And then
Have you yourself a string machine yet?
No, it's on the shopping list. House is on the shopping list first, and then everything else. I'll have a tennis room in my house.
Fair enough.
And yeah, and then I tried even more rackets, like a couple of new ones, like the new V-Cores that have come out. I tried the Waranka racket, which is... It's not a V-Core. V-Core's the Shapovalov racket, the red Yonex. Tried that one. It wasn't great. I tried the Stan Waranka ones. It's a navy.
I'm trying to think, what the fuck are you using?
It's a Yonex. It's a green.
It is
green
Yonex?
and black. And I think, like, I tried the heavy version, like the 330.
What about any of the Bablats? I know you had one of them.
I've tried a couple. I had tried the Pure Arrows.
Yeah.
Hated it on the ground strokes. Serve was great. Volleys, it was the best racket I have volleyed with. I'm not kidding. But I just could not adjust my ground strokes, and my serve wasn't quite... Like, second serves were great, could not flatten it out. First serves, don't know what it was. Like, I'd tried all of these rackets for like a week at a time, and that's, 3-4 times a week. So I'd have... And it was actually about 5, because I'd have a hit up with Charlie and, get used to the racket and then play a couple of comps with it to see if I like it or not.
Unless it felt like out of pass.
Yeah.
If you pick something up and it just feels like utter shit, I'm
it
not going to
felt
spend
so
a week
light.
trying to get around the feel of shit.
Yeah.
No.
I tried it, and like it wasn't bad on my ground strokes, but it was nothing like... I didn't pick it up and go, shit, this is the racket for me. Came into the net, I was at the net the most with that racket, because it was just... It was a gorgeous volleyer. Then I tried the Dominic team, the Pure Strike 1820.
Yep.
Just couldn't... I don't know what it was. It was a great racket. It wasn't as precise as I was hoping. That might have
for an 1820, that's like a bit absurd, because if you're going to have 1820, you want to be fucking precise.
Yeah, that's the whole point of why I had the 1820s.
Yep.
And because didn't need power, you knew that.
Yep.
So I needed a control-based racket, and I thought that would be it. And I don't know what it was. It just something didn't click with me, and like it was a good racket, and I could just, sort of chug away with it. But it wasn't anything spectacular.
Yep.
Pure Drive, didn't even try it. I've had a hit before with them, and I just went, no, this is shit. Tried the Instinct, because the ex-coach at...
I don't know about them now. I haven't tried an Instinct in years.
Yeah, no, the Instincts are... They're not my racket. Like, the ex-coach over at Caboolture, Brad, he's got them and he swears by them. He loves them. And don't get me wrong.
They were an L3, I think, or something like that, shortest.
They are. They're very short. And mind you, he's, I'd say, 80s, 90s style tennis, so not quite full continental, but he's very stiff, not a massive amount of wrist, that sort of stuff.
Is he still playing?
He still plays on a Wednesday night. He doesn't coach anymore. I think he might do a little bit of school stuff, that's about it, like with the really young juniors.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's pretty much stepped back.
And are you still involved with the club?
Yeah.
So, is the young fella doing all the coaching there?
Yep. There's only 2 days a week. 2 days a week there, 2 days a week at Bribey.
What?
Yep. I think maybe one of the other coaches from Malpass will come up on a Friday or something, and they'll run like a 2-3 court thing. But there's like, can't tell you exact numbers obviously because of some confidentiality bullshit. Stuff. But what I can say is junior levels are definitely down. And
fuck, man, I was doing 5 to 6 days just on Bribey.
Yep, no. When you packed up and left, 80% of them did too. And it is.
He needs a kick in the ass, dude. He needs a kick in the ass. So I don't know the guy, so I suppose But after we had a play,
Yeah.
like after we had a bash,
Yeah.
and I played down there, like being next to him, like he has zero court presence. I'm not trying to belittle or put this guy like I'm just trying to tell it how it is from someone who's been around coaches, from someone who's taught numerous amount of coaches, put coaches through, been coaching myself for 25 years.
Longer than I've been alive.
So I've seen a lot of coaches, good and bad.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that he's like shit house or the day that we were there was hopefully he was having a bad day because that was a poor representation of what a coach should be.
Yeah.
He was.
I know he was definitely going through some shit personally, so that definitely doesn't help.
Yeah, because a coach shouldn't be quiet. Like we're on the court next to them, and I couldn't hear him.
Yeah.
And that's fucking disgusting for starters.
Well, I remember when you were coaching me, you'd be up the other end screaming at me.
Yeah, bro. You know how many times people would tell me they hear me from the car park? Like Jason would pull up in his motorbike and go, I knew you were here, I heard you. You know, and that's the car park for Christ's sake.
Shit.
You know, it's fucking over 100 metres away.
Yeah.
So, but you don't want someone down the other end of a tennis court, like 20 metres away, going, huh?
Yeah.
And most people, verbally, we hear on average, I think it's like 7%. You know, we retain of what we hear verbally. So, a key element is getting it loud so there is no question, there is no thought, you know how I feel about this is what I want you to do.
Yeah.
Whether it's giving them some love or giving them a kick in the ass. There shouldn't be a problem with the volume switch here.
Yeah.
You know? And then energy, it had zero fucking energy on the court. I looked at the way the balls were fed.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you're trying to teach someone a new swing and you're allowing them to step in and take a ball on the rise when you're
There's a whole new swing pattern that shouldn't be on the rise.
Well, it's, man, like those boys that he was teaching, you know, the verbal cues that were given.
Yep.
You had two boys on the court hitting backhands at one stage. One of them just full scoop job, and the next boy come over with like grips sort of set into a continental and had a bit more of an idea, got some snap on there, like totally worlds apart between the two backhands. And his verbal cues were almost identical. Like, oh, yep, okay, here we go next. Like, it's like, do you not understand what people are paying you for? What people get when I get off, if I'm going to pay some motherfucker for something, when I leave, I want to feel it.
Yeah.
I want to know, even if I'm feeling bad, I want to feel bad because he's pointed out my flaws that now I can go, fuck, I've got to work on these to make me feel better, to make me better.
Well,
you know?
I know there's been a couple of times where I've walked off after, you know, when we were coaching, you know, once. I think we did twice a week at one point, didn't we?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And there were a couple of days where I've walked off and I've literally just hung my head in shame as I walked up to the car park and gone, fuck, that was horrid.
Yeah.
But you have days like that.
Yep.
And
you don't want a neutral day. You don't want a day that's horrid because you got. Not only do you like those days you're talking about, I know the days. There were also days where like we're stepping it up. You know, I expect a fair bit of you, and it's all good to be good against Joe Boggs, but like. If you're going to expect to fucking take a set off me, cunt, you got to do a lot better, you know? And I know what you can do.
Yeah.
So I'm only asking you for what I know you can do.
Yeah.
But it takes a fuck every ounce. If you're thinking about
something else,
the ex being a nut job or all this other shit's in your mind, you got no room for that. Not when the ball's coming with that much time.
No. And that was the other thing. One of the first things I told you, I don't know if you remember, but once we, you know, started getting things right, I said, right, in a couple of years, I want to be playing tournaments. I don't care if you're screaming at me and abusing me. I want you to push me to that point.
Yeah.
And still not at that level.
Well, I haven't been screaming at you for almost 8 months.
I know. So. That's the problem. And I told Mitch the same thing. I said, look, you know, don't worry about being hard on me. Yep. I want you to be hard.
Yep.
And I want you to be picky.
As long as you're learning.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing, and he is, and he's picky, about the right things too.
Good man.
Like, you would have noticed when we were having hit up a lot of swings. Still had that old habit of around the waist a couple of times.
Yep.
And he's picky on that over the shoulder, every time. Yep. Every time he sees it, it's like bang, you did that. That's it. Or if we're playing like a consistency type game, which we do quite a lot, because at the moment that's what I need to sort of break through. So
all day.
And so that's what he'd do, and he'd see that, and he'd wait until the end though. He'd go, yep, and, you know, whether I'd hit an unforced error or a winner or something like that, he wouldn't, you know, stop the rally. He'd go...
You know what you need to do, bro? Sorry to interrupt. I've got to say this as your former coach.
Yeah.
know what you need to do?
Yeah.
You need to find someone who's not a very good tennis player.
Okay.
And make sure that you have a hit with them once, twice a week.
Yeah.
And even try and give them some pointers.
Mm.
But you'll have the pressure of you can't make a mistake. You have to get that ball in because you're the one that's the obviously better player. This person is a fucking noob.
And
It's that coaching mindset. Like, there's so many times that I see you get some of the easiest, dirtiest balls and they go on the back fence. Or like, some of the simplest things. I've seen you hit a drop shot that doesn't even go past your own service line. And I think, how the fuck, dude, have you... Like, it's not touch or it's not... And it's just that practice of just being able to just... the simplest thing of putting a ball from there to there and doing it 100 times so you really understand every length of depth, control, power of the most basics. When I've seen you slow down sometimes, bro, you've slowed your swing down so much that the ball dribbles to the bottom of the net.
Yeah.
Now that shouldn't be that you should be able to just brush and roll or even continental pop without being total Gumby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, without being too
and
pushy.
still have some looseness to it. You used to get so tense when you have to fucking slow down. What are you fucking tense for? Yeah.
That's not going to help.
Yeah.
But yeah, and yeah, you're right.
And that's consistency wise, brother. That's like, that'll fucking...
Well, I remember doing the research. It was something like, even just to get a slight change, even if you haven't been doing something for 20, 30 odd years, like you've been doing it for maybe 6 months tops, it still takes, I can't remember if it was 3,000 or 30,000 balls to it. Not even to get that perfect. It was to actually sort of ingrain that. I think it was 3,000. It was 3,000 balls, so you have to hit 3,000 balls the exact same way to get that even partially ingrained. If you wanted out of habit, it was like astronomically more. It was in the hundreds of thousands. I can't remember where it was. It was some sort of study they sort of did, and to notice...
Well, there's the old, 10,000 hours is the old one, you know, and it's basically... Like, I remember saying it to a mate, there was a guy that come out of it, and he said, look, I'm going to practice golf for 10,000 hours, and you basically come off scratch. He, was almost a semi-pro.
Yeah.
And he committed later in life, too.
Yeah.
But I said it to my mate, and he turned around and he goes, yeah, just like an apprenticeship. Yeah. I was like, what? And he goes, oh, yeah, the amount of hours that it takes to do an apprenticeship. You know, like you do your 4 years and your X amount of hours. I was like, you motherfucker, I'd never even thought of that. The most basic sort of...
And you notice you progress each year.
Yep. Yeah.
And yeah, that's what it is. And I honestly, if I could afford to hit a ball all day, every day, I fucking would.
Yeah, but I don't even think like... I mean, don't get me wrong, hitting the ball, but there's like... We have such an understanding now of our own movements that sometimes just getting out there and hitting the ball is the biggest problem. Like, there's so many... That's exactly what we were talking about before. How can a fucking professional tennis player have a brain fart about technique and have to change their serve within the top 50 in the world? Like, and this isn't even just like I'm on a down at the moment. I mean, I've hit a slump. Like, this is a mechanical problem that you have never assessed, and you've been good enough with all your other attributes just to push through the shit. And then when you hit some real resistance and you meet the top shelf shit, oh my god, that you exploited. It comes unstuck. That shouldn't be the case at that fucking level.
Fuck no.
And now we know you can do so many other things to help grain that in, to help train those sort of things, with the visualization. Well, there's so many facets to the game now. They've gone ridiculously with, but those little things, the simplest little things, sometimes like they're the fucking key. Like, I heard a boxer talk about shadow work, and it was an old boxer, like would have been Holyfield or Sugar Ray, and he's like, you fucking young boxers talking about how you're bored now and you can't get out and spar because of COVID. And he goes, how much time you spend shadow boxing? And a couple of people got on and retorted with, they get bored with it. And he goes, well, that's your problem. You're not fucking disciplined. Yeah. You should be like, how many hours we spent shadow boxing? You know how many fucking hours I spent in front of a wall casting a shadow, throwing hands? Yeah. Having a look and then just feeling my movement and just throwing my hands. Yeah. And if you can't get out, if you get too bored with that, if you're not disciplined enough, then fucking move on, find something else. Yeah. It's the same. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you have to have that same sort of, fuck dude, 6 hours of shadow work, but there are times where some of those little movements of yours, you can manipulate them without a racket, without a ball. Yeah. Like, I remember the first time I was shown, I played golf from a very young age, right? Yeah. So when I was like a pup, I couldn't hold a club properly, and then I got taught interlocking. And I remember being a very young kid and getting shown that, and my dad was an high-level golfer too, so he insisted that I had to keep this. Yeah.
So this was disgusting. When I come home from the driving range, I was like, this is so...
Yeah.
So I grabbed a broom. Dad grabbed a broom and said, hold this, just while you're sitting there watching TV. Hold on. And literally, I sat there for half an hour just bouncing the broom and doing whatever while I'm watching. And within a day or two, mate, that was sweet. That was so foreign. To hold a golf club like that is disgusting.
Funny you should say that. One of the things... Jeez, I keep going back to tennis. Fucking hell.
Yeah, cool.
One of the things that Mitch got me to do when we were working on that kick serve, because whilst there was a kick serve that we had, and it was more of sort of a top spin serve where it'd just kick up.
Yep.
When he got me to work on the one where it kicks out,
Oh, yeah.
it was just have your racket in your hand while you're waiting for a video game to load, and just that movement, over and around, and around. And literally, I just
start to train
literally
it.
just sat there doing
Muscle
that
memory.
a couple of times.
Yeah, man. Yep.
And then go out and start,
Yep.
doing that. And then, like, if you can, get outside and do a handful of them over the head like that. And then work on the whole coming around and back under it. But just that, sitting there with my racket. Like, I could probably sit there doing it now to ingrain it even more. But, yeah, that's...
the same as Continental. I remember doing Continental on a serve. Like,
Oh, that feels disgusting.
Yeah.
As a kid,
I was the same when you first went. Okay, this is how you serve properly. Stop doing this shit. This is how you hold a racket when you serve properly, and it was. And there was that Continental, and I think I adopted your sort of relaxation strategy too. Because when I first started with you, it was cocked wrist. Like,
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks very much. That wrist is loosed.
Yeah.
I still use it on occasions when I have to remind myself.
Yeah, it's a trigger for me. It
Yeah.
just became a trigger at first. I'd only do it every now and again, and then it just become... Whenever I didn't do it every now and again, I felt myself go back to that old sort of tense service action.
Yeah.
Realised I get a pain in the shoulder, or the ball that I fly down at 150, and I'm putting all this effort in and popping out a hemorrhoid trying to push down a hard serve and get nothing out of it. And then I realised, your tension.
Yep.
So that was become a trigger, which then just becomes sort of now, like when I play half the time, I'm just sort of really relaxed and I try to keep that mindset.
When I played you last time, you still had it. It was like just the first serve you hit when we went back to playing, even after 12, 18 months of being off the court completely, bang. Straight up, bang. Thanks very much. It's just that. And that's what I lost for quite a long time, and that's when I started using a lot more muscle through the serve. That's when I started having elbow and shoulder problems.
Yeah.
And now we've tweaked it, and now there is a lot more of a flick.
Yep.
There is an absolute fuckload more pace. So if anyone is still muscling their serves, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Just the pace difference and obviously consistency.
And it's efficiency.
Oh yeah.
That's what I can't
I'm
stress
using
enough.
a shitload less energy too.
Yeah.
Like,
I know motherfuckers might be out there and go, I use a semi-western or western, I can still slap down my serve, bruh. Like,
how much energy are you using to do it?
Man, how long are you going to do it? You do that for 5 sets, dude. You're all fucked by the end of it, and you're not throwing the same pace down. There's no way.
Shit, no, I noticed that, and that was one thing, pacing myself.
Yeah.
And I remember it was a big week of tennis. I think I did six times. A couple of hours each day. And like, that was brutal on my body. But at that point, I'd noticed, because I was loose on my serve, I was still, even at the end of a couple of hour session, after 2-3 days beforehand, I'm still, obviously they're not fast serves, so 170 something like that. But even so, I'm not putting a massive amount of effort into it, and I'm still hitting 170s at the end of a couple of hour session.
How many times do I say to you, less is more? That whole...
And it took...
Get up on it, fuck it! And you lose so much speed.
Oh yeah, I've done that on
the bed, and
I still do that on
happens.
occasions. Like when I'm when I'm pissed off, like I'm fucking up the simplest of things, I will do that, and I'll do it on purpose to release aggression. But I've gotten to a point where I've got a second serve that I can rely on.
Yeah.
So it's not the end of the world if I do that to vent some anger rather than breaking a racket.
Yeah, I know. That's always a better option. 100%.
Yes. Yeah, no, I've learnt. I think these pro staffs will probably be the longest lasting
serving.
Rackets. Yeah. I mean, I think I worked out that thing would be about 355 with the lead and the strings, because it's 340 without strings. And then now I'm using the new Luxilon 4G rough. It's great. There's no power in them whatsoever, so I can swing a lot freer as well.
What is it, like a 1 point? What is it?
It's a 1.25. So it's still a bit thicker, but you know, it's rough. It's
What would you say your racket's at? 340.
That's 340 unstrung. That's without the tape either.
Okay, so you've got tape on it.
A tape on it.
You got an overgrip.
Yep, and it's a leather base grip too. So there's a bit on that.
Yeah, but unstrung would be your leather base grip would be included.
Okay, yeah. So I do. I've got one overgrip. Luxon brought out a new Mega Tack. They're tacky as hell. They are fucking great.
So you got an overgrip.
Yep.
You got your strings, and you got lead on it as well.
I got
so, bro,
2-3 strips of solid tape about that much on 12 o'clock.
Do you want to know how much it weighs?
What?
I'll tell you. There's no way that thing's weighing 355. If that's under 360, I'll fucking eat your turd, mate. I'm telling you. Yeah, those strings alone are going to be 15 grams.
Shit. Okay, maybe it is.
You know, then you got an overgrip.
I remember.
Then you got lead. How much lead you got on it?
Yeah,
couple of grams?
Couple of grams each
How
strip.
wide?
About that wide each strip. There's two of them, one on each side.
Length and width,
cut.
what, like?
So is in like, is it fat?
Yeah, it's fat. Like it takes up most of the space between the grommet and the end of the racket. I can pull it out and show you. I literally have it right here.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll check it out at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking
but yeah, it is because I only say 355 because that's a guesstimate. Because I remember I've watched a video of them actually pulling apart a Fed's racket, a racket he had actually played with. So it is set up for him.
Yeah.
It was somewhere in the vicinity of 365.
Yeah, 15 grand, $1,500 a setup. His racket is, I think it was.
I don't know.
Each customization is $1,500.
Does he even have to pay for it though?
No, I mean, no.
Yeah.
No, he's not like no, 100%. But I off memory, I believe he quoted in saying that each cost of his racket, just the way it's like for his specifications, the way it's balanced, changed, modified.
You want to know why?
$1,500 worth.
Well, the quality control's got to go into it. I mean, that racket's retails at $369, right? But quality control's obviously not the best. So you get 3 rackets off the shelf, they're all just going to be slightly different. Obviously, being a pro, it's got to be. That's it. It has to be smack on. But yeah, back to the video. I remember watching them. It was the pro stuff. I think it was the second gen where they had the 97 square inch head, and it was one that he'd used at Wimbledon. And he, he'd signed it, and of course they'd framed it and glass encasing, things like that. And he pulled it out to show it. Sealed butt cap, but he worked out there was about 2 or 3 grams of silicon in it to balance it out. I think the stats were something like 365 as a weight and a balance of 315.
Oh, okay.
And the tape, it literally ran, I think it was from the second or the third string to the second or the third string. Like the tape strips were about that long, one on each side, on the underside of the
guard.
The guard, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. Well, I mean, that's how most of the pros do it. I'm just lazy and put it on the inside because it's the easiest to do it.
Fucking
I mean, it is slightly different when you have it on the outside. I've heard that, and they've done a bit of research.
Well, wind resistance.
Yeah.
It's the main thing. Yeah, there's a slight shift in, you'll get some grab or torque through the air.
And then obviously you've got the 30 to, depending on how thick your beam is, 30 to 35 mil a bit further too. Because if you have it on that outside of the frame, under that guard, if you've got say a 25 mil beam, that's another 25 millimeters that lead tape is further away from your hand too.
Okay, I know what you're saying.
So yeah, it is just that little. It's not a massive amount, but it's just that little bit.
No,
further.
100%. That's 100%.
But
if you put the lead in at say when you're trying to do you line up your sweet spots and you put instead of putting it at the top, they're the guys that we did on the side before too. So say you do it at like your 13 cross and then your 15 cross. Like I know it's only this far apart, but that's a fucking difference, dude.
I remember when
swinging.
I was playing around because I had tape on the sides and smack bang in the middle on the gravity.
Yep.
And then I moved it up to about 3/4. So instead of being at 9 and 3, it was probably more at about 10 and 2. Oh, a bit between 10 and 2 and 1 and 11. And yeah, it just it made such a difference. And it's only that far further up on the racket.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Yeah, especially when you're swinging it.
When you're slapping, it's fucking like I was saying. I think when I first told you, it was something like 2 grams. It depends on the swing speed, obviously, but it's something like 20 to 25 grams the variance. From 2 grams, like that's
and
that's
you're thinking
massive.
about it, and he's got tape strips that fucking long, underneath the head guard on both sides. Plus, I think the silicon in the butt cap was just used to sort of balance it out to get it to that 315 dead on.
Yeah, okay.
But I remember he actually recreated it. So he pulled the pro stuff off the shelf, like, because he owns a tennis store. So he went through all of the pro stuffs that he had, like the actual proper pro stuff RFs, and got the one that was dead on the specifications, 340 unstrung, 305 balance.
Yep.
And got that, perfect. So then he added the customizations, and that's how he worked out, there was 2 grams of silicon in the butt cap to balance out the balance and the weight and everything like that.
Yeah.
And he picked that up and played with it, and how the fuck does he swing this all day, every day?
Yeah, it's a bit of weight.
Oh, bit of weight, Waranka. The tape strips on that motherfucker's racket. It is literally like that on both sides of the racket. Waranka's literally got tape all down the side. Djokovic is the same. He's got tape up the top. He's got tapes down the side.
Yeah. And no one knows this.
No.
All these Muppets like coming and go. See, I've got the Nadal racket, and it's just like, have you really, mate? Have you really?
Yeah. No, you got the racket they've endorsed, but
yeah,
I think there's only 1 or 2 people that actually use that racket. Like, a lot of the times I'll say, I endorse this, but it's like they might use an 1820 with a smaller head size or something like that.
I mean, half the time it's they're using like 2 years model prior, and they respray it.
Just resprayed it.
Yep.
I think there was only a handful, but Feds was one of them, that you can actually pick up a racket that's those specs off the shelf, an RF97, and actually make it into his racket, because that's what they've based that off.
Okay.
And I remember he said there's only a handful of people that actually use the racket that they endorse. Obviously, quality control and all that. It's made better. It's made smack on, all that sort of shit. But you can get one that's off the shelf and turn it into that racket, rather than, like, a lot of them will use a 95 square inch head.
I think quality control became a problem once they got into 95 square inch used to be the fucking norm.
Yeah.
Go back fucking long enough. But I mean, I think they had problems with quality control once they really started to move everything into China.
Yeah. Once it became that mass produced from China or Thailand, one of those two, because each one's slightly different. But
we had Taiwan you get rackets from, but I mean, back in the day, like, I think it was Taiwan your head rackets would come from. I don't know where it was prior. Your head rackets come from Austria.
Yeah. Well, their head office is still in the same place. They got all the testing facilities, all that sort of shit. Like, Rublev, his racket was blacked out for so long, and I had a suspicion he was between racket deals, because I looked back to about, I think it was 16, 17 before he'd sort of broken really high up in the ranks.
Yep.
And he was using a Wilson Burn, or at least it was the colour of the Wilson Burn, the red at the top and all that sort of shit, before they had the clash. So he was using that, and then he'd gone to all black racket. So I thought, okay, he's in between a racket deal, blah blah blah. He's changing, obviously, because I don't know whether Wilson didn't want to do it anymore, or he thought he wanted to go somewhere else.
Yep.
And for a couple of years, it's just dead black racket. I'm just like, what the fuck is he using? But it'd just be a customized racket from God knows where, because there's a couple of companies in the States that do that. You can say, I want this racket at this weight with this balance, and they will make it. No tape or anything like that. They will actually make the racket into those specs. So I'd say that's what it was, and he's just got it painted black because there's no endorsement. Monte Carlo, he came out with the new colours of the head gravity. So he's jumped from Wilson to head, and it's taken 12, 18 months to jump ship.
Okay.
But I'd say, obviously, being a pro, none of those specs are changing. They're just going to make the racket the same way he's used to it, and it's just obviously spray painted.
Yeah, I mean, every now and again you'll see a player react with a change of sponsorship. I remember when
the Joker first changed to the Speed.
Yeah, from when he went from, because he used to use a Wilson.
Yeah, it was Wilson.
It was a brownie coloured Wilson. I remember that.
Yeah, and I remember that. I remember one of the first tournaments seeing him play with the Speed, and he's like banging the racket and looking at it and shaking his head and looking at the. But I mean, that's just him. He's a fuckwit. He's just going to always look for some sort of justification for being a fuckwit.
Yeah.
So, but there's definitely players you've noticed they've done a racket deal change, or they've changed sponsorship, and you've seen how much it's affected their game.
Yeah,
so.
And even just slight racket changes, like when Feds went from the 95, is it 6T1 or no? 6. I can't remember the racket now.
Wasn't that a head size difference though? That was the biggest
Yeah.
thing that everyone sort of talked about.
It was a 95 to a 97, which
Yeah.
is why I said you can literally go pick up an RF97 and make it into it, because that he uses the 97 square inch head.
Yep.
And that's what it was. It was the change from the 95 to the 97. That's still that's a 1619 as well. He doesn't use an 1820. It's a 1619 with a 97 square inch head, and I've become accustomed to it now.
Yep.
I 1820 for so many. I say years, but it feels like years. So many years, and I was so ingrained in that. I need that control, and I did. But the control and precision that comes off that racket.
Control comes in many forms though. Like for me, 1820, the only thing it does is that. It's that line.
I want the ball,
that's what it's all about, like for 1820. Yep. But like the way that a ball flies in trajectory, well, we can get a ball to do this and this and fucking this. And, like it's all these other elements I miss out on. Whereas when I go to the 1619, I feel the teeth actually bite. I feel the mains get hold of the ball by the arse and give it a kick.
Which I found on that racket. But even though it's a 97, so it's a smaller head size, so obviously squares are a bit smaller. You still get a bit more of that control, but you have that freedom in the bite of a 1619.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Well, next time we have a dance, I'll have a crack with it.
Yeah, well, I got two now, so.
Yeah, that's right. You only had one.
Yeah, well, I only had one because I had an incident on a first serve come out of my hand onto a hard court straight into the service line, just obliterated the frame. That was the first racket I've broken on accident. All of the gravities, the Dunlops, the blades, they've all been broken out of pure anger.
Intent.
Yeah, they were intentional. That was like, okay, you can hit that forehand every other fucking day of the week. Why couldn't you have done it then? And, like speaking of that club champs before, no offense to Madison, but you can't play for shit. Thankfully, I'm going to take a stab and say you probably won't notice this podcast or anything like that, because I just hope he doesn't. But yeah, he just can't play for shit. And
who?
Madison Baker. He was he's a guy he was playing in Caboolture. He's Div 3, so that's where I started. Was way down in Div 3.
I wasn't sure which club championships you're talking about.
No. It was Caboolture, and like I'd played. I think it was Charlie and another guy, Nick Cullen, who's a good tennis player. He's taking a bit of a break now to have a bit of personal surgery, it came like I was dancing well with Charlie, dancing well with Nick. Came to Madison and biggest brain fart, and I was throwing shit left, right, and centre. And at that point, I'd had enough. And I was missing simple cross court forehands, and I don't know. I sort of got a bit too caught up and couldn't pick what it was. And I think that's what really sort of set me off, is I couldn't pick, because a lot of the times if I hit a dodgy forehand, I can go, okay, I caught that late, or I didn't finish up, and I know what was wrong and I can fix it. But when I'm screwing something up so simple that I should be able to do, and I can do every other day of the week, and then not pick up on what the issue was, that's what set me off. And I've got a photo of it, and it was uploaded to the Caboolture Tennis Facebook page. Best racket smash of the night. The only bit that it's held together by the strings, and you got the grip, and a little bit of like a half moon on the bottom side. Everything else is in pieces around it.
Fuck.
It was, once I'd broken it, I went, that's it, okay. Yeah. It's useless. I'm going to release everything. Yeah. And I did, and I just absolutely fucking obliterated it. And that's what everyone's like, oh, you broke your racket. Oh, there's no need to go over the top. I was like, well, it's fucking useless now. I may as well try and release as much as I can on it. Because for me, that sort of shit's just pure frustration. It's like, I can do this every day of the week. Why can't you do it when it matters?
I reckon the best one I've ever seen is the Marcus Bagdatis.
No, I've never seen it. I've
5 rackets.
I can proudly say I have watched a match live where Feds has smashed a racket. He's only, I believe it was, don't quote me on it, but I believe he's only ever smashed one. And it was a match on a hard
No, he smashed numerous. Like he didn't get sponsored by Head because he was that much of a psycho when he was a teenager. Yeah, bro.
Shit.
Up until he was like,
I didn't know him as.
There was the tournament that changed him was he played a match against Safin, and he was in the hotel room after the match watching it, and it come on the news, and he's like, out of the shower, like I'm going to watch myself on the news. Yeah.
and all they talked about, the news presenters talked about,
Racket
was
smash.
who won the racket smashing competition, not who won the fucking match,
Ouch.
not who moved to the next.
Next round.
The
or
whole
anything.
news report was about one of them broke 4, the other broke 3. Who won? And that's when he said, "Well, fuck, is this what I'm going to be famous for? This is not the attention I want. This is not." You know, and that was one of the mechanisms, one amongst other, his coach, the South Australian coach, and other things.
Yeah.
But that was one of his things that he openly has talked about. Seeing this and then watching the way it was presented across the news and just going, "Oh, what the fuck?"
Yeah, why would I don't want to be represented?
But
because I didn't know.
If you get the chance, get on YouTube later on.
Yep.
And check out. If I had the software, that'll be a while before I can get all that sort of shit organised, where we can actually look this shit up and it doesn't interrupt the flow. I can drop down screen and all the rest of it. So I'll be able to pull shit up that we talk about. But his is, it's either 3 or 5 rackets at the change of ends while he's sitting down. Or it might be the racket that he's got in his hand, and then he pulls 2 or 3 out, like in bags, brand new, plastic, and then just and fucking demolishes every racket bag he's got bar one. He leaves one racket standing, and all the other rackets that are in his bag, he demolishes, bro. I think it was at the Aussie Open. That's one of the best ones to watch, bro. It's fucking quality because he's seething, and then he goes and sits down, and then it just starts the explosion. So I reckon that's one of the. It's one of my most unforgettable.
Because I saw Kyrgios at the Oz Open. He walked off court for a toilet break. Had 2 rackets in his hand. Came back with 2 broken rackets. Yeah. Literally, he didn't even go to the dunny, and you see it on the cameras. He walks down the thing, and he walks so it's technically off the court, and it's out of the players' corridor. Yeah. He down to the corridor where the toilets are, and he just goes ballistic on the both, and then walks back out.
Yeah, that's quality.
Umpire doesn't see it, so he didn't get a time violation for it.
Yeah, well, he hasn't brought the game to disrepute as far as everyone else knows.
And it's in private until all the cameras catch him doing it, and they plaster it everywhere.
Yeah, that's quality.
But I remember I think it was 2010, 2011 that I saw it. I believe it was something like an Indian Wells. That it was that sort of that end of the hard court.
Easy enough to find.
Yeah.
What time we got?
1:44.
Oh really?
Yeah.
We might have to wrap this up. I made sure I had a shave, mate. I was going to be a young fella sitting across from me. I didn't want to look too all grey and old.
Get rid of all the grey hair before he comes.
Yeah, but I'm hoping we skew him. I was supposed to get him last weekend, but then the boys come up from Sydney and Canberra and stuff,
never
and it was
the
just
boys.
it was too much lunacy. So, but thank you very much for this, dude. I appreciate it.
Oh, that's all good. That went extremely quick. Shit.
Yeah, too easy. Oh well. That'll do us. Thank you very much. Thanks again, bro. Fucking legend.